Hello and welcome to the Hill Garden. Excuse me. It's December 9th, and I'm here in my indoor grow room today planting bulbs. And I know some of you might be saying, well, December's a little late to be planting bulbs, but it's really not. We don't have our last frost date here until the middle to late May. So I've got about 5 months of winter left that these bulbs can rest outdoors in their pots, or I can also grow them indoors, excuse me, and have beautiful flowers in the winter, beginning of spring, while everyone else is still looking out at a dark kind of gray winter here. We have no snow on the ground yet, but our ground is frozen. So today I am planting in pots. And first I want to show you what a bulb is, because some of you might not know what the differences in the bulbs are, and how to plant them and how deep and everything. This is a Emperor tulip bulb. It's probably 1.5 to 2 inches long. This is a yellow monster crocus bulb, which you can see right here has started to stem already, but it's pretty much dormant for the winter. And a daffodil bulb. Pretty much everything you have to know about planting bulbs, as far as how big they grow, how deep to plant them, things of that nature, is all on the card that comes with your bulb right here. It will tell you, right here, it'll tell you everything you need to know about planting your bulbs. And something else you should look at is right up here. Daffodils are a mid-growth bulb. And what that means, early bulbs come up in the spring, mid will come in the beginning to mid-summer, and the late bulbs will come up in the fall. These here are a mid bulb, and I like to mix my mids and earlies. So my earlies will come up first, and my mids will come up later after the earlies have died off. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to plant a bulb, and then we're going to set the pot outdoors once we're done, and it's going to have the winter to stratify. Now, before you ask, stratification is where your bulb sits out in the ground through the winter. Garlic has to do this. Bulbs have to do this. So they need at least a month of really cold weather to be able to grow in the spring. Now, like I said, we get 5 months, 6 months of cold weather here. It's been highs of the low 30s for about a month, 2 months now. Our first frost date was September 30th. Our last frost date is projected May 15th. So I've already got my garlic in the garden. I've got my asparagus in the garden, which was a root I got from someone. We've already got about 40 bulbs planted out in our flower bed, and we did those in September, so or October. So now, I mean, these bulbs are still on sale, so I'm still buying bulbs and planting these pots, so I can have something come up in the spring and summer. And you can plant either in a small pot like this one here. This is about a 2 1/4 quart. You can probably get 2 bulbs in here. This is just about a gallon, and I've got 6 bulbs in here, and these are all saffron plants. Each one of these little twigs is going to produce a flower, and I have 6 in here. I bought 50 of them, and they were all producing this little root. that you can see right here. When I got them in late. I got them in November. So I planted them, and they've been growing here in the grow room under lights. And these will eventually produce flowers. Now, if any of you have ever had paella, you know what saffron is. It's the little piece of the flower. You only get 3 per flower. That they pluck them. It takes 50,000 of them to make a pound. It takes about 3,000 to make an ounce, and it runs about $72 an ounce. So saffron's really expensive. So growing yourself is a way to save yourself a lot of money. So let me spin you around. I'm going to show you what I have for a pot, and we're going to be using a mixture of potting soil and composted cow manure. The reason I use composted cow manure from a bag in the fall is because I don't want to bring into my grow room bugs. So I don't want to, my compost bin outside has flies in it, it's got fungus gnats, it's got worms, it's got all this really good stuff that's helping it break down, which is fine, it can stay out there. I have 6 cats, I do not want to bring bugs in here with them. So I use bag composted cow manure. And don't let the name fool you. It's not actually cow manure. It's cow manure that has been broken down in a compost pile. It's free of bugs and fungus and all that stuff. So it's got everything good in it that you need, but it doesn't have all the bugs to come with it. So that's why I use it indoors. So let me bring you in close so you can see what I'm doing here. Everything together here. I'm just going to pull I recycle all my potting soil and my pots. If you fertilize, you really just need a growing medium to support your bulbs or your seeds, stuff like that. So I have gone ahead, and this is stuff from, I think I was growing yellow, purple, and green beans in this last year. Don't worry about pieces of twig in there. It's not going to matter. It's going to actually help with drainage. This is a soil you can use, excuse me, pretty much anything. The white that you're seeing in here, the stuff here, is some places use perlite, some use vermiculite. It's pretty much the same thing. It retains water. It'll swell up a little bit, retain some water, but it also gives you some coarseness for drainage. So your plants don't swim in the soil. You need to get it drained out. These are they're essentially smart pots. They're the generic version. I don't even know what the brand name is on them, but they are a fabric pot made out of felt. They've got handles on them. This is the 12-inch by 13-inch size. This is a 7-gallon pot. It's going to give you everything you need for aeration for your roots, because your roots need oxygen. It's going to allow drainage through the sides here because it's almost like a mesh. If you, as you water, you can watch the excess moisture just kind of go out the sides, and it'll evaporate in the sun. And then it's got the handle so you can just pick it up and move it easily. When these are full, they weigh about 15 pounds. So I take a piece of wood, put it through the handles, pick it up, and it lifts up the whole thing at once and just makes it so I can lift it one-handed, so I can open doors, I can move stuff out of my way. So I had quite a bit of soil in this. What I did was I took most of it out. I'm just breaking up any large clumps to also help with aeration and give the roots a little more freedom to move around. There. So I took out about 5 inches of dirt out of here. When you plant a bulb, these ones here, like I said, these are the yellow crocus. You don't need to plant these as deep. A good rule of thumb is 2 to 3 times what the bulb size is. So these are about an inch and a half long. I would say 3 to 5 inches would be good for these. The root end is right here. It's pretty obvious because it's got if you look closely, if we can focus here, there's a few roots right here. So you would plant your bulbs straight up. If you can't tell, this one here doesn't have any roots growing yet. It's got this one long piece, but if there are no roots and there's no pointy tip for you to look at, then lay them sideways like that, plant them. They will grow up. You'll be fine. But typically the wider bottom, pointier top, just like a clove of garlic, is how you plant these. You're going to put them straight up. Like I said, these are tulips. These are an early one. These are the daffodils. These are mid. And these are the yellow monster crocus. These are a early one as well. So I'm actually going to put a variety in here so I can get a splash of color around. If you live in the South, and I know I've got a friend in California right now that they're still in the 70s and 80s, take your bulbs in the mesh bag that they come in. Don't put them in Ziplocs because they will rot. This is the mesh bag that they come in. Take the whole bag, put it either in your veggie crisper with nothing else in there, or put them in your freezer. Give them 3, 4, 5 weeks, and then you can plant them outdoors. They'll have time to stratify, but they will grow early. You can also store them in your freezer over the winter, and go ahead in the spring and plant them, and they'll still have their time to stratify and grow. And then you can just plant them in the spring, and they'll grow. So these are the daffodils. Like I said, these are mids. So what I like to do is put these in a pattern. Probably going to put 7 or 8 of these in here. Now, this is a parent daffodil and a baby daffodil. Leave these connected if you can for now. They when these get this size, you can split them apart. It's best to leave your plants, your bulbs, undisturbed for probably 2-3 years. That's why having them in pots is great, because you can move them around. You can put them in sheds for the winter so they don't get covered with snow. But something like this I'd put in the middle where there's 2. But once this one gets big enough, you can break it off. And bulbs do split. Here's another one with a parent and a baby. If I split these right now, this one would either not grow or wouldn't grow very big. So I'm just going to plant the base of these down in. Get a few more here. I go to Lowe's a lot, and Lowe's has these right now for 75% off. And one big bag of daffodils this size is $10 normally, $2.50 right now. So go buy yourself some flowers. Your area might still have a lot left. So I'll be buying some more today. I've probably bought 200 bulbs so far this season, or more, and I'll probably be buying more today. So you notice I'm spreading these pretty far apart, and that's because I'm going to be putting some more in. And I'm probably going to be putting, let me find another early one here. How about, to go with the daffodils, we do the large flowering mixed crocus. So we're going to open that in here. I'll give you, if you look on the back right here, it says depending on your time zone when to plant. California is in the October to December range. We are clear up here in northern Maine. We're in the September to November range. But like I said, you can plant these. You can plant these in February in pots and put them outdoors, and it's not going to matter. I've had these bulbs for probably a month now, and I'm just now getting to plant them, because I'm putting them in pots outdoors, and I plan on lining the front of our property almost in a hedge fashion with these fabric pots. I've bought quite a few of these this summer, and I'm going to go ahead and put these outdoors, cover them with straw, and this way it'll protect the snow from leaching all the nutrients out of the cow manure out of here. So these ones, since the crocus bulbs are so much smaller, they only need maybe an inch. They're going to be pretty close to the top. So I'm going to go ahead and mix up my compost and potting soil that's in here. We're going to cover these up quite a bit. Now, if you're putting these outside to weather over, you don't need to water them. Don't worry about it. They're going to get enough moisture outdoors, and you don't want your bulbs to sit in wet and rot. Now, if you live in the South, I have in-laws in Maryland, they could actually go outside right now and plant and enjoy these. I'm going to be planting some in another pot to enjoy indoors. But if I'm going to be putting stuff outside to weather over, I don't want to add a lot of moisture to it. Now, I'm not trying to bury the bulbs completely at this point, because I want to see where the tips are so I don't plant one over the other. Now, if you live out in the country and you have a rodent problem, there's a woman here, she runs a huge garden, 4 acres, mostly flowers, a few vegetables. She has a problem with mice. What you can do is, after you put your bulb down, take a piece of steel wool, really fine steel wool, break it up, and you're going to put it, spread it out so it's really fine, and you're just going to lay it right on top of your bulb on each one. You can probably get 3 bulbs per piece of steel wool. They normally come in bags of 12 pieces of steel wool, I think. And so you can get about 36 tulips out of one bag. And you can, if mice dig down and they hit that steel wool, they'll just turn around. Nothing to worry about. This one here. This one here. We don't have much of a mouse problem here, so I'm not going to worry about it too much. So I'm just planting these. And like I said, going to cover them more. I'm not going to worry with steel wool right now. Excuse me. We're like I said, we don't have a whole lot of snow right now, so the pollen and the leaf mold is still getting to me. So my allergies are kind of kicking my butt today. Okay, and I think I'm going to throw a few of the yellow monsters. So let me grab some of those I have over here. And you really want to shake it up with color and different bulbs and different varieties. Try not to go too far on the outside of the pot. I might have put that one just a little too far. I'll just put 2 of these in here. Yeah. Actually, we'll switch that one. And this one. Just for something a little different, a little yellow amongst the red and purple. There. You can also, they have so many varieties that you can do any color scheme you want. Right now, this time of year, a lot of people in October were planting amaryllis bulbs, which are a holiday bulb. They produce just a couple stems each. You can get them in kits. I got one last night, came with the pot, the cocoa coir, to grow it in, and it produces a couple stems. And on each stem, you get between 4 and 8 flowers. And they take 5 to 8 weeks to grow. So I'm still planting stuff indoors so I can grow it. I love having my hands in the dirt. And it's really satisfying to be able to grow something. and see it come up. So, and the reason I didn't mix compost into the bottom was because on the top, as you water, the water will mix with the compost and release what's called compost tea, and that'll just trickle down to the roots and feed it. Speaking of root, there's one of my bean roots. Take some of the bigger, harder chunks out of here, mix it in, and there we go. We have planted our bulbs for the winter. Now, you can get these little stakes and label them if you want as to what you're growing. You don't have to, but you can. I'm going to want to be surprised this spring as to which one's which. So now I'm just going to take this outside, put a little bit of straw in it, set it in my garden, and just let it winter over. There we go. That does it. We've successfully planted probably a dozen bulbs in here, some daffodils, some crocus, one little yellow crocus in there to kind of mix things up. I've got more bulbs to plant. I have my hod of bulbs right here. And I really want to show you this really quick. We got this from Gardener Supply. I think it came in last week or a week before. Really haven't had a chance to use it. It's actually for harvesting vegetables out of your garden. It's mesh, so if there's any moisture, it can run down through. They don't sit in moisture. You can probably fit, I don't know, half dozen ears of corn in this, or you can, this is their large one and they have a smaller one. I wanted something to be able to produce or grab a lot of food out of my garden, enough for a couple salads, some stuff to process, make marinara, stuff like that. So I went for the big one, and they're not paying me for this. I'm not sponsored by anyone. I just think it's really cool. I really like it. I put my bulbs in it for days so I can pick them up, move them around, just keep everything together. It's really cool. So I thank you for coming to the Hill Garden and planting some bulbs with me today. It was really cool to have you here. Thank you so much. Make sure you subscribe so you can keep up to date. It's in the winter. It's kind of hard for us to produce any videos. This is a new channel. We started it late, so we're going to produce more as the weather gets nicer. February 18th, mark your calendar. We're going to start producing videos for growing your seeds to be ready for outdoors. Like I said, our last frost date is May 15th. So on February 18th, that week, we're going to start growing our peppers and lavender and our eggplant to go out. So you can come with us, and we're going to do it right here in these little fabric pouches. These are really cool. Love these things. They're just like the Smart Pots. They have mesh to allow for drainage. And if I can get one open here, you just fill them, and the bottom you can set them down and they'll grow. I got these mostly for my tomatoes and peppers. Things are going to get really big before they go out in the yard. So February 18th, that week, we're going to release a video on how to plant seeds for outdoors. And then every week or every other week, we're going to be planting something new all the way up until May 15th. And then May 15th, we're going to take outdoors and we're going to show you how to harden off your vegetables and put everything into the garden. Not everything gets planted the same. Tomatoes, we're going to put probably a foot down. Peppers, probably an inch below the surface. So you're going to want to see how we do things and what we add to our soil, stuff like that. So make sure to subscribe, share us with your friends, and have a good day.